The leaders of the group of 7 nations have begun 3 days of talks in Hiroshima. Prime Minister Kishida Fumio, who is chairing the G7 gathering, welcomed the leaders taking part at Hiroshima's Peace Memorial with his wife, Yuko. A total of 10 sessions will be held during the 3-day summit. To wrap up the talks, the leaders will issue a declaration highlighting the main points of their discussions. One country that casts a shadow over the G7 gathering is Russia. After group photos and the symbolic tree planting, a new round of sanctions are to be unveiled against Moscow, with a focus on redoubling efforts to enforce existing sanctions meant to stifle Russia's war effort and hold accountable those behind it, a US official said. Russia is now the most sanctioned country in the world, but there are questions about the effectiveness of the financial penalties. China's expanding presence on the global stage is also expected to be among the leading items on the summit agenda. The G7 countries have been calling on China to act responsibly as a member of the international community amid increased assertiveness on the part of Beijing. A joint statement issued by G7 foreign ministers after a gathering in Japan last month expressed serious concern over the situation in the East China and South China Seas and stressed the importance of peace and stability in the Taiwan Strait. The G7 leaders are also expected to exchange opinions on how to deal with North Korea, which is advancing its nuclear and missile development programs. North Korea launched a record 37 ballistic missiles and other projectiles last year. The country has conducted 12 launches so far this year. The G7 foreign ministers strongly condemned North Korea's repeated missile launches and their unprecedented frequency. They also agreed to be involved in the complete denuclearization of North Korea in line with UN Security Council resolutions. PM Modi is also expected to reach Japan soon to take part in the summit. Japan believes that Prime Minister Narendra Modi's participation in the G7 summit will build synergy between the G7 and G20 processes, especially to address the issues of the global south. India is among the 8 countries invited to participate in outreach sessions of the G7 summit in Hiroshima during May 19 to 21, and Modi can speak with legitimacy for developing countries after having heard concerns of more than 100 of these nations during the Voice of Global South summit in January. The British Prime Minister also arrived in Japan earlier Thursday and paid a visit to GS Izumo, a ship that can carry helicopters and fighter jets able to take off and land vertically. The G7 includes Japan, the United States, the United Kingdom, France, Germany, Canada and Italy, as well as the European Union. A host of other countries have been invited to the summit in hopes of strengthening ties to non-G7 countries while shoring up support for its efforts like isolating Russia. Leaders from Australia, Brazil, India, Indonesia and South Korea are among the guests. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky is also expected to join via a video link.
Subscribe to Oneindia channel and never miss an update.